Yeah, I mean, we're at a predominantly white and wealthy institution. I'll say it.
Yeah.
I've
You
been
said the
I've been saying it.
words. Oh, PWI.
Yeah. Hello, welcome back to On My Mind, the podcast featuring yours truly. Oh, see, now this is going to be different. Featuring yours truly, Michael, and introducing the new co-host, Miguel.
So guys, I don't know.
Man. Yeah. I think I've been talking about this for a while now, that I have a new co-host. Ooh. But yeah, I mean, it's Miguel. He was here for the first episode of the school year last year. And so he's back again. But this time he's not a guest. He's like a straight up co-host.
Yeah. I'm taking over, actually. It's part of my plan to just take over the podcast and make it mine. So, but he's not supposed to know that. So, yeah.
All right, yeah, just don't tell me, guys.
Yeah,
it's
don't
okay.
tell him. Don't tell him.
All right. Oh, I'm sick. I feel like that's the first thing I want to address. For any of those who may be listening who might also use these studios, it's okay. I'm wearing a mask right now. That's just so that when I cough, I mean, I'll still cough to like the side or whatever, but I don't want to get like my germs all over these microphones and stuff. Just because then it's like, I don't want to get other people sick. I mean, I don't know if people have been using these studios already, but I feel like this place has been pretty untouched. They made some changes to this place, and so that's pretty cool. But anyway, that's not what you guys are here for. You guys are here for the show. So, welcome back. It's the first week of the first full week of classes at Bowdoin. So, I'm back at the studio. I recorded like episodes over the summer, but the main issue with that was I couldn't find a good place to record. So oh, God damn it.
Okay.
I couldn't find a good place to record because it's like my only options were like my kitchen and my room. And so I was just kind of left with like no motivation to record because it's different. I mean, now I'm back in the studio and it's like, this is the actual setting that's meant for recording, not like to make food or to, sleep, right? So it's like a completely different environment. I love this much better.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're back with Miguel. Some of you guys may have not even heard this guy on an episode before. So Miguel, you can kind of introduce yourself. What are some things we should know about you?
Yeah. So I'm Miguel. I'm also at Bowdoin. I don't know. I guess the most important thing that people need to know is that I'm the co-host. But
yeah, we got a soundboard now. Let's go.
I mean, I really don't know. I guess I don't want to plug myself in, but I did do a short film over the summer. And you can probably check it out on YouTube. Well, I don't know if there's gonna be a link in the bio, but
link in the description.
Link in the description.
This is our show now, bro. You gotta get used to that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if I can force Michael to put it on the description, then it should be on the description. Otherwise, you can probably find it. It's called Noche, which is supposed to be night in Spanish, and it's uploaded on YouTube under the name Antagonist. So it should be pretty easy to find. I mean, it only has 60 something views. So
damn, bro, sure, spread the wealth. All right, I just found it. Is Antagonist your YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's just the alias that I'm
subscribing.
It's just the alias that I use for just that YouTube channel. I mean, because I don't know. I guess
right.
I'm more comfortable using an alias than my name online. So because actually my real name's not Miguel. It's actually Oliver.
Oliver.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
From those who remember. But yeah.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Go watch that episode or go listen to that episode.
Episode 1, man. I mean, this is episode 30, so it's it's crazy that it's been a year since then. I mean, that episode came out September 20 something. It was the end of this month. Right now, it's only the beginning of September. Bruh. Oh yeah, another change to the podcast is that we're going to be explicit. That doesn't necessarily mean expect a crap ton of words, like cuss words, but I figured like this podcast is meant for a more mature audience. Like I feel like y'all can handle it. It shouldn't be that, but I mean, I've had explicit episodes and those actually tend to do way better. I mean, there's a lot of variables as to what makes a podcast better, but it's interesting because the reason I was like PG-13 was because like money, but then at the same time we don't get any anyway, so what are we worrying about? You know, it's just like kind of made that decision. And yeah, man, I mean, everything's still the same. You can expect new episodes at Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, I mean, I guess another addition that I've talked about before, but if you didn't listen to the episodes I did over the summer, then you probably don't know about this, but I was working on a website. It should be up now, like public online. You can check the link in the Instagram bio, in the description, guys, and in the description. I'll make sure to keep that.
Look at the description, especially my link. Okay, yeah. I think that's the most important one.
Right, you know, I'm gonna put the website all the way at the bottom, so you don't have to really like search for it.
Make sure you click mine. Okay.
Yeah, anyway, so there's a new website. It's not much, but I mean, I think it's a nice place to kind of just gather everything. You can listen to the episodes through that website, which is really cool. I also have like I don't know, just like sections and stuff of like what we're about. I could add on to it. Like it's not like a set in stone thing. Like I can continue to develop like that website and make it a lot better, but that's a thing. Also on that website, you'll see that there's another team member. Aside from us two, we also have Melanie, and it kind of feels weird that I call her by first name because she's my girlfriend. So she's going to be running the Instagram for the most part. I like didn't tell her ahead of time for the Q&A thing. And so I did it like this morning or something like that. And the whole plan for this episode was to do like an Instagram Q&A, you know, a classic on my mind episode. But we only got 2 responses and they're both bogus.
Well, let's go through them.
All right. So to begin with, actually follow us on Instagram. You know, I should plug the stuff. Follow us on Instagram. Check out the website. You can listen to us on Spotify. I mean, you're listening to this episode. You can, you know,
you'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
You're a smart cookie.
We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Those are like the 3 main platforms I get like listens on, and you can see some cool stuff on Instagram, mostly like pictures, and I was thinking about doing some behind the scenes stuff, but it's kind of hard when like I feel like you would need an extra person for that.
Yeah, you need a B-roll cameraman or something.
Basically, yeah. But anyway, I don't know. I mean, again, this podcast is ever growing, right? So it's like we can continue to improve and get better at what we do. Make sure
you give us feedback in the comments.
Of course, dude. Yeah. Listen, I get nothing,
good or bad.
I get no engagement in the comments, bro. Like, just say hi. Like, I want to acknowledge that you're there.
Just like master keyboard and just like go ham at it.
It makes me so sad when I like upload an episode and then like there's no reaction to it whatsoever, except for the fact that it gets views.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I also like thank you guys for listening to the show. I would probably still continue doing the show even if it got like 2 views. I mean,
yeah, it's a passion project. I feel like those are the most important ones.
Basically, this is like a memory bank for myself and now for Miguel. Yeah. So like he'll be. I guess we should also explain like what that means before we jump into the Q&A. Like Miguel is gonna be a part of like the show. Like you know, he's a part of the show. He's a co-host. So there may be some episodes where like I'm gone and he can record an episode on his own, or like with his choice of guests. And like if I don't really like know them too well or anything, I mean, it would probably be a much more like conversational. I don't really know. Like I feel like the chemistry would be a lot better if like I wasn't there, kind of thing. Not that like, you know, he really is going to take over the show, but it's more just like he has his own creative liberty. Like he has his own ideas. And so now it's kind of like a partnership of like, if he wants to do an episode, he can have an episode for a week. I mean, I get a free vacation basically, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, this episode is going to be unfunny because we can't make Michael laugh. Otherwise,
I'm going to just die.
Yeah, it's going to be the most boring episode ever because of that.
I wanted to press it. Yeah, I made a soundboard. Like I went out and put some sounds onto the soundboard because it was filled with like the dumbest stuff. Like people from last year, I think, just like recorded the most absolutely absurd things.
Don't touch. What was it? The green button. Don't touch. Oh no! He's like, oh God, you touched the button. What did you do? And then there's a Rickroll.
Yeah.
And there's like the twinkle or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. It was pretty funny. I mean, I could play it actually.
Yeah.
Maybe not the Rickroll thing because that's like copyrighted, but I think it's this one.
Oh, don't do it. Don't say it. Oh my God, don't do it. I thought you weren't going to press this button, but now that you're here, oh God.
I wonder.
Boy. I told myself when I woke up this morning I wasn't going to say it, but please don't press the green button. Oh God.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing is that it's not even green. It's like yellow.
Whoops. Yeah. So, I mean, basically, like, imagine things like that, but for all the buttons.
Yeah. They were just random stuff.
Yeah. So I basically had to switch them up a little bit. So now we have like dumb sounds too. Like,
yeah. Well, what did you say?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, gaping mouth.
Yeah. So I think we got like all the logistical stuff out of the way. So let's just kind of jump right into it. So we have the Q&A on the Instagram. I posted this. To be fair, I did post this 8 hours ago from the time that we're recording this. So I didn't really give much time for it to like
marinate.
Yeah, basically. Usually I post these Q&A posts like in like a whole day before, but this was just the morning before. So our first response comes from Mario. You know Mario.
Yeah, we know him.
He's been on the show a couple of times. He's fun. He just put feet. Like all lowercase, just feet.
Wait, feet question mark or just feet?
No, just literally like look, it's just feet. Oh God,
you gotta chill.
Yeah, bro, I'm wearing the mask, and it's like it's particularly pointy because it's the KN95.
Yeah.
And so like excuse those little ear rape moments where I just like destroy your guys' ears. Yeah. Anyway. And then Miguel also responded, and it's just simply, "What is your favorite color?" You
want to go?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of blue. If you want to be like really particular about it, I like cobalt blue. It's a more darker, like think Lucario. If for those of you who know Pokemon, like that's that kind of shade.
I would say probably like a neon purple, not necessarily like a hard purple, but something that's a little bit lighter, like maybe something that's just a little bit lighter than that. So
I should probably put photos up to like describe the kind of shade that we're talking about specifically. And of course, Spotify and YouTube have videos now.
Spotify has videos?
Yeah.
Since when?
you I mean, it's been a thing for a while now, since last year.
But how does it work?
All right. So let me just do a
I never.
So like you go to my show on Spotify, right? And by the way, I also changed all the thumbnails and stuff. So like now they're pretty cool. But let's say we'll go back to the last episode I did. So you'll see the thumbnail right on Spotify. And I believe you don't need premium to listen to like specific episodes. If you do need premium, that's kind of whack. But I don't know because I mean I can't really tell. Anyway, so like you'll see here, look, it says video episode.
Yeah.
So like when you click play, I mean it'll play. Let's not listen to that.
Hello.
But like it's like the video's playing. Whoops. Yeah. Which is really cool. You can make a full screen and then it becomes like a horizontal like YouTube video basically on cool. Spotify.
Yeah, I don't know why I wasn't aware of that. I guess I've just been living under a rock.
Yeah, and then also if you kind of scroll down a bit, you can see I'll sometimes leave questions on the thing and you can answer a question. So like I have this thing that says leave any feedback here and you reply and it's like I'll just write
your
feedback.
Episode sucks.
Actually, I'm gonna put your episode sucks.
Yeah, this is the worst podcast
with the Z.
Yeah,
send. I think it auto corrected, but all right, whatever. Yeah. So Spotify has video. It's been like that for like a couple months now, which is pretty cool. And like you can still obviously like just turn off your phone and listen to the show, like you would normally do when you're like listening to music or whatever. But yeah, that's something that's not really new, but I mean just continuing to
cool.
do. Yeah. And if you're on any other platform, well, then you're kind of stuck without being able to see. Like sometimes we'll say, put up an image, and then like you're just like, well, I guess I'll kill myself.
Put it on the screen, Terry.
Who's Terry?
He's our editor.
Oh, we have an editor. Damn, someone should have told me. I'd love to meet him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so those are our favorite colors, and that is the end of the episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was just colors, guys.
Nah, I'm playing. There are some things like we also have something called chatter, which is basically like random conversation. There's no really flow to it. My glasses are getting very foggy, so I have to like wipe them down. Man, I forgot about the thing. You know, I mean, the world is like transitioning in a way. Like I was home all summer and I did not see anyone wearing a mask like whatsoever. And it's just crazy to think that, I mean, it's still out there. Like there's still a bunch of cases in the US, but I think it's become much less of a threat unless like you are subject to like a really low immune system or something like that. But if you're vaccinated, I mean, you should be all right. Yeah.
Please get vaccinated if you haven't, guys.
I heard that they're going to be doing like, it's going to be like the flu shot where like you get it every year now.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I don't really know what to say about that, but it's just like that. I guess it's something that we're just going to have to learn to live with.
Yeah.
But it's gotten to the point where like it's not really affecting like, you know, shutting down everything and things like that. So I mean that's okay. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. But anyway, like I'm wearing a mask right now and like, again, my glasses start to fall. I can't see from my left eye. It's just blurry. And now there goes my right eye. No, like you can every time I laugh, it just fogs up my glasses.
Yeah, we cannot make him laugh.
I'm just going to stay serious this whole episode.
He's going to be very serious.
Do I have something on the soundboard that's like fun? I forgot which button does what. And some of them are very loud and some of them are like whatever.
We'll figure it out.
I'm not gonna press anything, or actually, I'm just gonna. I know that.
Okay, yeah, you know
that was fun.
H and Nathaniel beat. Whatever.
Dude, that Key and Peele thing was like my favorite video. It's like, well, at least it's not this. He's just like sweating more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the classics. Oh man. I'm sorry, I'm wiping my glasses again. This has to be the most unlistenable episode like I've ever made.
Yeah.
Actually, there's definitely been worse. But I have some other points. I guess we could kind of talk about like our summer.
Sure.
I'll let you take the floor.
Well, my summer was pretty uneventful. I mean, like I said, the only thing. Wait, you want me to say that like I went to Europe and like, you know, I went to Europe. I traveled, you know, all over the world. I solved world hunger actually.
Oh damn.
Yeah, I went to United Nations and I solved a lot of diplomatic problems, you know, between the Middle East and, you know, more westernized countries. And also, you know, Are you
just gonna keep going?
Yeah, I'm gonna list everything I did this summer.
You know, I took a breath and then I took another one.
Yeah, I also took a shit. Like, come on, bro. But yeah. And then after all of that, I actually went home and I stayed home and I did this program online for NYU, which was like for film and TV. Basically, I had to make my own like little movie. I did a music video, and I had to I had to go through the whole process of writing screenplay and making a shot list and actually filming it and editing it. And yeah, I did that during the summer, and I thought it was pretty nice. I thought, yeah.
Whoa, that's so interesting.
That's so sick. Link in the bio.
Hell yeah.
But anyways, I did that. I just stayed home during the summer. I mean, I really didn't do that much other than, just help out at home and, just be an obstacle for my mother. But yeah.
I mean, hey, like, I think the point of the summer is to relax, but a lot of people take it as like, you don't have to have a productive summer. Like, it's okay. It's a summer break. It's okay to like take a break.
Really? Yeah. I feel like that's one of the things that was just, that had me caught during the summer, because I was just kind of sitting there not really doing anything. And, from the people around me, in college, they're like out doing internships or they're like out like traveling the world and and meanwhile I'm just sitting at home like watching like the Gmod Nextbot videos or something like that. Like just like wallowing it. You don't know that? Well, you'll see. You'll find it eventually. It's on YouTube. It's like really popular right now. But yeah. No, yeah, I definitely agree that summer should be more about relaxing than of some like because obviously it's nice to have like an internship or whatever or like have like a job, but at the same time you want to be able to relax. Like, come on,
Right. I mean, especially because of like all the stuff you kind of go throughout the school year. And I guess it's also like important to note that not everyone listening is a college student. Some people like go into the workforce out of college. And so like for them, they like, unless you work a job, like, I mean,
24/7
or not even that, where like, how teachers will also get like summer breaks off.
Summer
like
breaks.
I'm trying to think of another job that's like maybe if you're like a snow plower or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Like seasonal jobs or something.
Or like maybe you're a lifeguard at the beach, like that could also be a seasonal job, but that's during the summer. So that's a bad example. But something like that, unless you're working like that, then I guess you also don't really get a break like at some point in the year. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to note because it's like we talk about how you're not supposed to compare yourself to another, like other people and things like that. And it's just like understanding that people come from different like backgrounds. And so it's like I don't know, but then it's very difficult with our generation, I think, because you can just like lay down in bed and watch the adventures of all your friends like from your phone.
Yeah.
And then you're just on Instagram and like you see everything they post and it's just like, oh my God. Like and then you kind of get like the fear of missing out, like FOMO is what they call it.
Yeah.
And then it's just like that, then that makes you feel like crap. But like in reality, it's like you worked your butt off during the school year. It's like you should be like entitled to a break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of like the point I'm getting across. 'Cause, I mean, like my hunger for like staying productive is the reason this show became a thing. Because this show was kind of born out of the pandemic where it's like I was home all day and didn't really do anything because school was like online. And so I didn't really have any extracurricular stuff to do. And so I like decided to pour all my energy into a podcast. But that's also like I guess it's also interesting how different people have different like needs. Like for me, when I'm not feeling productive like that, then it's very easy for me to kind of get all fidgety and like, oh, I got to do something. I got to find something to do. And so like, I also understand that there are like levels to it and it's not as like black and white, like super simple, clear cut thing you can kind of portray. But I mean, hey, summer's summer, man. Like it's supposed to be a good time overall.
Enjoy it in your own way. There's no right way to enjoy it, I think. Yeah. So like,
there are wrong ways.
There are definitely wrong ways to enjoy your summer. But there are,
I don't think we have to get into that, but
Yeah, there are better ways. Okay. Stay, just sort of, focus on yourself,
Yeah.
And it'll be fine.
My English teacher in high school, Miss Heaney, I don't know if she's still at the school, but she would always say, like, every time she'd ask an open-ended question, she'd be like, there are right answers. I mean, there is no right answer, but there are wrong answers. And so that's kind of like something that I kind of carried with me. And
I think it's true. I think that can apply to a lot of things.
Right. She was a very smart person. Definitely very influential in like where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Shout out to Miss
Heaney. She was Canadian and like no one had like an idea. There's a clip from back when I used to do the show like in high school, where someone discovered that she was Canadian on the show, and she was like, "Wait, she's Canadian? Since when?" Everyone's like, "What do you mean since when?" Since she was
I don't know.
born.
Maybe she married a Canadian and she became Canadian that way.
Yeah, but it was just like such a funny moment. Like I used to do clips where like I'd take like short minute long like segments or whatever, and then I would put that on Instagram. Those are the good days when I had the time and effort to do that. But college life is just so busy nowadays.
Yeah,
because I feel like especially here at Bowdoin, like everyone, like the academics is almost like a secondary thing. It feels like it's more like you're so extracurricular focused that like more people are less interested in the kind of classes you're taking, but more so in like what you're doing outside of class.
Yeah.
And yeah.
No, yeah, I can definitely see that, especially, I mean, and it makes sense too, because like really, I guess the ultimate objective of going to college is to get a good job.
Right.
And obviously academics are part of it, but they're not the whole thing. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, going back to, people getting like, internships or whatever, like I feel like they're more focused on that than anything, or like they're more focused on their career.
No, I'm playing.
They're more focused on their career path than anything else. Like,
yeah,
obviously academics are important and they can be interesting sometimes. But
this is a very serious conversation.
Yes, this is a very serious conversation. Anyways, yeah, just people focus more on their career path. Like they're trying to get somewhere, and that applies to me too. I'm not saying that I'm exclusive to that. Like obviously, I want to be able to get a job that I enjoy and that pays very well. And as much as doesn't matter as many film classes I take here or whatnot, ultimately I would still have to get that experience or get that job or whatever.
Yeah.
So it is definitely relevant, and I can see that with people here, and I guess anywhere really. But yeah.
you poured all your energy into No, I respect it. I feel like there's someone outside the studio just like, what the hell is going on in there?
I just heard some guy curse inside and
yeah, but I get what you're saying though, and I like it really is all about like fluffing up your resume, huh? Like that's low key sad, but I mean like it makes sense though, because like all of these are like meaningful experiences anyway. Like I spent the summer fluffing up my resume. I worked at the Santa Ana Police Activities and Athletics and Activities League. It's PAAL or PAL is what they call it. And that's basically like an after school program for students in Santa Ana. So it's basically like your typical after school program. Like you go there after school and you know, they help you with your homework, part of it is also like they have like exercise stations where you can like work out for a little bit. And then they have like an arcade where like, you know, it's like that other reward where you can, you know, have fun as well. And it's mostly a program to like connect kids with cops and to kind of like,
essentially recruit them to, you know.
Well, I don't know so much about the recruiting, but it's more so just like kind of like I get what they're going for, but I feel like it's very hard because of like all the stuff you hear about in the news and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I met some cops myself, and like, I mean, like I can't.
Let's get political.
I don't want to like. Yeah, right. I don't want to go there, but like I did kind of feel like a bit of like uncomfortableness, and I really wish that like I just straight up asked like, what do you think like about everything that happens? Like, I mean, yeah, like especially in the US, like you hear about it a lot in the news. And it's just kind of like how do you kind of reflect on that, or like how do you respond to that, like as a cop yourself? Like I really wish I would have asked like a cop, because like they have a substation at the place where I worked where like actual officers would, you know, kind of go there for their lunch break or something. And so like every time I kind of passed by them, I'd be like, I really want to ask, but at the same time, like I want to respect the fact that this is like like this man's just trying to eat a sandwich, you know. Like I'm not about to like just drop this on him. And so like I never really got the chance. Like that's why. And so it's just like, I don't know, man. It was a very interesting job. I had a lot of fun because I worked during the summer, and during the summer, it's not like academic oriented. It's more like giving your kids a place to go so that they stay out of trouble in Santa Ana. And so it's very nice because it's kind of like a camp counselor thing where it's like you're mostly just having fun. Like we did a bunch of like water activities outside and like the parking lot and stuff where like they threw water balloons at each other, and it was like we had like the squirters, water guns, stuff like that, just to kind of like stay cool. And then we would also go on field trips where like we went to the beach a couple times. We went to like amusement parks. We went to a water park. We went to like the regional park there, and they have like a zoo. Like I got to experience things I never got to experience as a kid. And so it's kind of like it was very fun job. Like I felt sometimes it didn't even feel like a job. Like I was just kind of having fun myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds a lot more exciting than like going to solve world hunger or like going to the UN. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, I had a great time, and then of course I was back home, so I got to see my girlfriend a bunch, and just like being able, like long distance. We could have a whole episode about long distance relationships, dude.
You can talk hours on end on that subject.
It's, I mean, do I want to get into that this episode? It wasn't on my list of points, like on my list of topics.
I mean, if you want to,
we can brush on it.
We can brush on it.
Because I've never been in like a long distance experience. What the hell am I talking about? A long distance relationship. That, I mean, it is an experience, but like I guess at the end. Okay, so last year we came for GCS, and so I left a whole month early. Like before the school year started, and then I didn't go back until the winter, like in December. And so like that kind of felt like a really long stretch where it's like our relationship was really tested of like, you know, because people would tell you it's like, oh, it doesn't matter how far I am, like I love you to the moon and back or whatever. But then like when you're in a long distance relationship, like those words have a lot more meaning. Because it's like you're 3,000 miles away from your partner, and it's just like terrible.
I mean, because you like to think that, you know, you like to think that, you know, you could be together, like technically, like on a technical level, like you could take a, you know, airplane and go, you know, wherever they are. And as much as, you know, I would want to do that sometimes, or as much as, you know, anyone would want to do that sometimes, you know, you got to be realistic about it, because, you know, like you have, you know, especially like here in college, there's things that we have to do and there's things that we have to plan for. So it's like, it is definitely hard, but at the same time, I feel like it really does test, like it is like a big test, between,
I think mostly trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do want to say that like being physically apart, and especially like by so much, it definitely helps each other, like on both sides. It definitely helps with like having your own life, like, because when you're in a relationship, it's very easy to like always want to be with your partner, and like that's totally fair, right? I mean, like I would always want to be with my partner when I was back home. And it's just like then you also kind of have to like draw the boundaries and like the lines of like, okay, well, like family first or something like that, or like, if you're like religious and it's like, well, I have to go to church and things like that. And, and like when you have academics, it's like, well, I need to study. And so, like it definitely kind of forces you to really think about like the other things that matter a lot to you. Like for me, it's like my education. Like I really emphasize and like care about my education. Which is why like I'm willing to sacrifice like losing time I could be spending with her if I had stayed home.
Yeah. And even then, like I like to think that's also like an investment towards, a relationship. Just,
that's
like,
interesting.
because like if you like think about it, if you're planning to go long term and, and especially in a case like this where like, you're in college and you're trying to get your degree so you can get a good job or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, just trying to go through those steps, you would want to prepare yourself so that eventually, if two people decide to live together, then, you would have that, going for both of you.
Right.
Instead of, like, out of high school or whatever, you guys decide to move together, which, I guess it can work for some people, but obviously, there's also this other, path that people can take where, you want to be able to prepare yourself for the future. You want to be able to prepare yourself for your relationship and, all of that stuff.
Right.
So
another thing to keep in mind, we're only 19.
And that too. We're pretty young.
Like we're still like quote unquote, if you want to say straight out of high school. Yeah. Like we've only had 1 year of college under our belts. By no means are we experts, but I've been doing a long distance relationship for about a year. Or actually, like about a year, like 9-10 months in total.
No, you've been doing it for a year. I just started like when? The end of May, early June. Yeah, so I'm a beginner at this. So
I mean, I think when we first started, we didn't really know what to expect. And that's, I think, the scariest thing. And I mean, I'd like to say like I'm wearing a ring right now and it's a promise ring.
Yeah, same here.
And it's not like in no means, I mean, I know what it like indicates, right? Where it's like, oh, well, I mean, it's like a promise to get married in the future, but it's for us, it was more so about like promise to communicate with each other, to have trust and faith in like one another, and to like be loyal. Like that is like the 3 things that we said we're going to promise to each other. And so that's why I wear the ring. And it's like, cause at the end of it, it's like you're really kind of putting, like you have no control over what your partner does when like you're apart. And it's very easy to kind of fall into that rabbit hole of like being pessimistic and being like, oh, she's with another guy, or like, oh, he's with, or like, oh, he has a crush on this person. And so like it can be challenging sometimes because those things you don't really worry about as much when you're like together. And so like, for me, it's also very difficult because there's a time zone difference. I'm 3 hours ahead. And so by the time I'm finished with my day, she's still like
doing stuff.
Like I'll be finished with my day at like 8 or 9, and for her it'll be like 5 or 6, which so she's just like about to get dinner kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it also makes it hard where it's like, okay, I have to wait for me to like have a full conversation with her or something. Like if I wanted to do a call, I typically have to wait till like 11 or like 12. And that's obviously not ideal because then it's like you're sacrificing sleep.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think at the end of the day, you just have to like talk with your partner if you're doing a long distance relationship, because it's like, again, communication, the faith, and trust and loyalty. That's like what matters. That's what holds it together.
Yeah. I feel like communication is probably one of the most important, or if not the most important thing.
Right. With any relationship, not even just like romantic ones, but like friendships. It's very easy to like, when you move away to another state, I've experienced this where like all of a sudden you're losing touch with friends who you were like really close with in high school. And like you don't see them like every day anymore. You don't like text or call them or anymore. Like then it's just like, are we still friends? It's like, I don't know, like that, communication is definitely key in maintaining any kind of like interpersonal relationship.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that went deep.
Yeah. Make sure, just like, talking is important, whenever you can talk. Obviously you don't want to be like annoying or anything, but just
man,
talk to people.
Like I said, I just wanted to brush on it a little bit. Here we are, like a full-on conversation. But I mean, this is what On My Mind is for.
Yeah,
like
that was on our mind. Like, wow,
it really is, because we're both like. Well, I mean, I guess you've kind of been in it in a while, but like I recently kind of am getting back to like, okay, I'm so far away from my partner, and like I had to understand that she has her own schedule and like her own friends even over there, and like as much as like you always, this is a big thing that I learned last year, like as much as you always want to be there for them, you gotta also kind of learn that like, or you have to acknowledge that, man, this is like hard to like word, but it's like you almost have to put like your trust in someone else to kind of also be there for them. Like for example, like her roommates kind of thing. Because there will be times where like all she really needs is a hug, right? Yeah. And like you can't physically be there for her. And that has been, I think, my biggest thing, because one of my like, I mean, if we're gonna go deep, like one of my biggest fears is like I can't be there for you kind of thing. Like if there ever comes a point where like someone needs me, or like someone like really wants my help, and like I can't like I just feel helpless. Like I hate feeling helpless. It's one of my biggest things.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
I know it's a tough conversation to have. And also it's like I like I'm not just gonna share everything about my personal life online.
Yeah.
Never do that. But I feel like I just wanted to make the point across of like long distance relationships are challenging, but they're also so very rewarding.
That's right. Yeah.
Because when I saw her for the first time again, oh man, I was so happy.
Oh yeah. They can be difficult, but I feel like at the same time they are rewarding. I mean, if you like the way that some people think about it, it's like if you can do long distance, you can get through anything. And I feel like that. Like it has some truth. It has some truth to it. Like it really, shows that, you're invested in it and you really, really want it. And, you're willing to wait, you're willing to be away. Like, obviously it's not ideal, but you're willing to be away, just be together while you're away. That was another stutter, bro.
Listen,
I'm
man,
having trouble.
the more you talk, the better you get at it. It's like with anything.
That's right.
Also it like helps like drinking water and stuff. Right now I'm like stuffy as hell. I'm gonna sound bad anyway. But like just finding a way to like, I don't know. Sometimes when I talk and I get very nervous, like my throat will close up and I'll have a voice crack. Like I'm very known for like voice cracks on this show in particular because it's like they're recorded. It's like I can't do anything.
Yeah, you can't do it. I mean, I guess you could edit it technically, but
and it's like with the stutters, it's like the same thing. It's like you will stutter, you will like have a voice crack, and it's just like I don't know. We're humans.
That's right. We are humans.
And especially when we're working without a script, like this is just off the top of our heads, and it's
off the dome.
Dug the dome. Yeah. So that's all very interesting stuff, and I love talking about any of this. Like obviously, like this podcast is a great platform for us to kind of like. I used to call it like it's my free therapy session because it's really like when I get to like express how I feel about things, and it's like I feel pretty open on the show, like, or I try to be, like I don't want to be like such a tight closed book where it's like then what am I going to talk about? And so it's like these things obviously are like on our minds, and it's something that I live with every day. You know, it's crazy. Yeah. But anyway, school has started. We're like about a week into classes, or exactly a week into classes. We started last Wednesday. We're recording this on Wednesday. And oh man. So far I've been really enjoying my classes. I'm taking like a math class. Multivariate calc blows my mind because now you're thinking like, you know, it's not just a 2-dimensional plane anymore. Now you're thinking in 3D. And like today he introduced us to the 4th dimension, and we're like, oh my goodness. That's basically how I was in the class. And then like to come from that and then to come straight to a podcast recording, that was fun. But and then I'm also taking 2 computer science courses. One is algorithms, which is like a core class, and then software engineering, which is a brand new class. This is the first year it's being taught, or like the first semester it's being taught. And this is with a new professor who replaced or I guess not replaced, but took the place of the now retired Professor Majersic. He was my professor last semester, so I was like one of his last students, which is pretty cool. Oh, that's cool. We did a whole send off for him. It was like such a nice thing, very heartwarming. He gave a speech, and I recorded the whole thing. It's on my phone, so that's pretty sick.
That's cool.
And then my other class is the intro to education. I mean, it's not called that, but it basically is. It's education 101 pretty much. And that professor is leaning to like be my favorite professor, but then my math professor is also really fun.
Who is your education professor?
Doris Santoro. She's super fun.
Never heard of her.
I mean, it'd be like that though. Like there are so many classes here. Like there's a lot of professors.
There's a lot of professors, there's a lot of classes, there's a lot of people. Like it may be a relatively small college, but in reality it's still pretty big. Like
there are times where it feels really small, and then there are times where it's like, holy crap, this place is bigger than I thought.
Yeah, it's a little microcosm of, I guess, the world. Actually, not really, because demographically, it's not.
Oh, of course not. It's crazy. It's like you're from Santa Ana, or I mean, I'm from Santa Ana. And you're from Houston. Yeah, and it's just like. I mean, is Houston primarily like Hispanic? Or I feel like, isn't there like 2 sides to it?
I'm not sure. I know from what I know is that there's like no like dominant ethnic like population. It's just a lot of like, it's supposed to be one of the most like a big diverse cities in the US or the world or something like that. But yeah, it's a pretty big city. I would say that, obviously, like, it's a pretty big, like, Latino population. There's also like, there's all, from what I've noticed, there's also like a big Vietnamese population. There's a lot of Asian people, like Chinese, Korean, also Middle Eastern. There's also like Eastern European people, like Polish people, Czech. Like it's cool because there's just there's a lot more than what you would expect from like a regular city. And obviously, that would be a lot more reflective of the world, or in terms of like, demographics and, voted. So.
No, it's a real thing. Like, we're at my high school is like 90 to like 95% Hispanic, mostly of like Mexicans, of course. And so it's just like you kind of go from that. And then all of a sudden you go to this school and it's like, whoa, I'm a part of the minority.
Yeah.
And like, I don't really like kind of view it that way a lot of the time that I'm here. But then like you'll come across an experience where like you're reminded of it. And then it's just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. Yeah.
But like, I'm not like feeling it all the time. It's just like, there's like some instances where it's like, it's inevitable. Like you'll be reminded.
You'll be reminded. You'll be humbled.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, no, yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Just like, it's just so like, it is very weird, just to be in a different environment that you grew up in. And obviously, like, some people adapt better than other people to it. Obviously, I think for me personally, like, I feel like I'm doing a lot better than I did when I first came over. But at the same time, like you said, there's like those little reminders where that this is different from what from what you're used to. So.
Especially, I think I like felt it even more this year, and I've only been here a week. Just because it's like I grew up like in Santa Ana, but like I never really knew the city. It's like a city. I mean, it's like a population of like almost 400,000 now. Like it's a growing city.
Oh, yeah.
Like when I was a kid, I used to say, "Oh yeah, it's only 300," and all of a sudden now we're almost like we're at 380 or something like that. But it's like a growing city, and that's like probably nowhere as near as Houston, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure we're like 4 million. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. Right, but it's like I mentioned that I worked at the PAL thing, and that really introduced me to like what Santa Ana is. And like just kind of outside the scope of like where I like my neighborhood and like my school, where my school was at. Like I really got to like see kids. Like I think it was especially important to like work with kids because they're like on the come up, and like they're the ones who are gonna be like me,
Yeah, eventually.
And it's just interesting to see like how many of them will make it out, like quote unquote, make it out of Santa Ana, and then like experience like these different and like unfamiliar environments, where it like I think though that it was like a really good experience because it was my first like experience in terms of like giving back to my community, it feels like, or at least that's kind of like how I viewed it, because it's like I was doing like a service for these kids.
Yeah, no.
And it's like kind of just like guiding them in a way. Like sure, we were going to like water parks and stuff and like playing in the pool or the water slides and things, but like I think just kind of like just being me, or like I was a role model of someone who like went to the East Coast for college. And I think that's like important because I never really had that like image, that like figure, like for me. And so like, I think it's important, like what they do, where it's like, yeah, like they hire college students specifically.
For a reason.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't want like a 45-year-old doing that job, like for various reasons.
Well, yeah, but so that's like it really opened my eyes, and I'm like, I freaking love this city. I don't know, like that's kind of how I like came out of the summer. And so like I felt even more like enrooted in that. And then I come here and it's just like you freaking pulled me out of the grass or like the dirt. And I'm like, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah, I definitely felt that too. I mean, yeah, I feel like my sort of lifestyle or, my sort of life that I would want to lead would be in a city. Like eventually I would move into a city and live in a city. Like all right, here's a rant.
Let's go.
Let's go. So my rant is that I really, really don't like suburbs for a lot of reasons. I feel like suburbs are they're just not a great place to live in, and even more, they're not a great place to grow up in, I feel like.
Interesting.
Because it's just very sectionalized. And, and also like the whole idea of the suburb is supposed to be like sort of like this protective hub from the city where, like there's supposed to be like, because obviously like cities are notorious for like crime or whatever, or like being dirty and all that.
Yeah,
so
I
like
see.
the suburbs are supposed to be like this protective hub of it.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, like it becomes so overprotective to the point where like it's sort of like surreal. It's a surreal experience because you're essentially like in this sort of, I'm not saying that it's bad, like it's necessarily bad, but you're in a sanitized environment where you really don't get any experience from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's been, especially for like a kid, like say, if I if I were to have a family, I would want to live in a city and allow my kids to like go for walks or like go to the store and get me something.
Yeah.
Because with a suburb, you kind of have to drive everywhere.
That's true.
So like, to go to the store, you have to get on your car, you have to turn on your car, you have to go to the drive, you have to turn off your car, go get your shit, go back to the car, turn it on.
It's a whole process.
Like that's, and it's a lot more simpler just to like walk to the store, and I feel like, that, and also just, and all, like obviously like the other thing too that's kind of related to that is the fact that, in like children don't really have that much freedom in a suburb because they have to be driven everywhere. Like if you want to go to a friend's house, like that's not in your neighborhood, you have to, you have to get a ride there.
Yeah.
You have to get a ride back. So like, you're very dependent on your parents, and there's like a whole like study about this. I don't know why, but I'm like really obsessed with it.
No, that's awesome. that's what we're here all about, bro.
Yeah, like there's been multiple studies about like this sort of phenomenon where like people living in suburbia and how really it's been more of a negative thing than a positive thing, and how it it affects the way like people's lifestyles. And yeah, I just find it pretty interesting. But that's kind of my thing with like big cities. Like I would much rather prefer to live in a big city than live away, like in a suburb or like in a very small town. But yeah, that's my rant.
I'm also thinking of like the suburbs, like historically, like I'm thinking of like white flight.
Yeah.
And then it's just like the kind of people like who the suburbs were meant for, and that kind of thing. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, we need Purnell for that.
Yo, we get Purnell back on the show, dude. That'd be awesome. Purnell's professor of Africana Studies here at Bowdoin. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah, he's amazing.
His thing released, like his audiobook or the thing I didn't check it out, but I mean, like,
on Amazon is out. I don't know, I guess link in the bio or something like that. I don't know.
Just a reminder in case I forget.
Just a reminder. Yeah, plug him in. Good service to him.
Everyone's
and his
getting their
work.
Comment today. Comment down. Plug in your stuff,
comment
bro.
down whatever media you want us to plug in, and we'll do it. Okay?
I could already see someone putting a link to like Rickroll.
Yeah, it better be your content though. Okay, no copyright. Because we're worried about copyright, so it has to be. You have to own it. All right.
Please.
Right.
Or if there's just also like something you're super passionate about, like
just make sure you credit
Yeah, of course.
Give credit where credit is due.
Damn. There was a lot of points you made that I kind of wanted to like say, but I think this is okay. So I became a Thrive peer mentor here, and that'll make sense to some of you guys who are listening, and some of you guys will be like, what the hell's a Thrive peer mentor? But basically, like, Thrive is a program here that is supposed to help like the underrepresented students at this place succeed and like navigate life at Bowdoin. For example, like students of color, low income, first generation students, like those categories, which is crazy because it's like when you categorize them like that, like it makes them different, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like anyone who's not that is quote unquote normal, but let's not get into that. But anyway, so like those students, right? That's what I mean by underrepresented.
Yeah.
And part of the training was that when you're having a conversation with like your mentee is to, like, when they're talking, to not listen to like come up with the response, but listen to like just let them talk.
Yeah. Or yeah, I guess to talk or to understand them.
Right. Because like when you're like, it's almost like a distraction when like you're listening to have like a bouncing point where it's like, okay, he said this, I'm going to say this now. And it's almost like, I think it's kind of related to like how, like, I feel like it's more of an American thing that like we're not used to silence. Like we always have to fill it in with something.
Yeah, we're very loud and annoying.
Yeah,
For any international
I think
listeners.
we have a couple of German listeners.
Yeah.
Shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
You guys have been here since day
Hallo.
one.
Ich bin Miguel.
I don't know German, bro.
I don't forgot how to say how old I am. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But, yeah. So I'm a Thrive peer mentor, and part of like what I said today on the show is what I've been telling like my mentees as well, just to kind of like let them be aware that like, yes, you are in an unfamiliar place, but it's okay because like, well, I mean, I would tell them that like I'm a resource for them, and like I am, but it's also just like Thrive as like it's still in its baby years because it was only made like 4 years ago. 4 years
sounds
ago.
About right.
So it's like it's definitely still like in its early stages, and I feel like it has potential to like become a lot better.
Yeah.
Especially since Bowdoin admissions I feel like they've been doing a better job of like diversifying its student body.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know the stats on like the class of 2026, but
I think there were like it's funny because the only big stat that came out to me was the fact that like half of them were white. So, like I can tell you that half of them were white, but I can't tell you like the specific ones for like POC. So yeah.
What happens if I look up? Okay. So they're a class size of 511. 50% are female, 45% are male, and 5% are another identity. That's I like how they don't say non-binary or something like that.
They don't. I mean, yeah.
42% of students are of color. 11 from international backgrounds. 9% are Maine residents. 17% are the first generation. That's wild. 17.
Yeah.
I mean, 17 out of 500. Calculator.
17 times 5.
So that's about 85 students that are first generation in the class of 2026. And then they also put that there's 14 states with 10 or more students from there, including Texas and California. So let's go.
Yeah. We're the best states in the nation, guys. That's kind of a fact. There's no debate. Okay.
The acceptance rate was 9.1%.
I was
part of that just kind of blows my mind. Sometimes it's like,
how
what?
low it is.
Yeah. Because it's like Bowdoin, you don't put it up there with like the super top Ivy League schools that have like similar percentages, but like we're there, like in that same league.
We're invisible. We're like the forgotten Ivy.
I had no idea what Bowdoin was until like I did the Questbridge stuff.
Me neither. I just saw Bedoin and I just selected it, bro.
Yeah, that's literally how I pronounced it for like 2 episodes of the podcast.
I saw Bedoin on the list. I'm like, this sounds cool.
Yo, polar bears?
Yeah, polar bears, lobsters, lighthouses. Like, I'm, sign me up.
Oh my god!
Free
I was
tuition.
telling. I think it was one of my coworkers from the summer about Bowdoin, and they thought it was a sailing school, and they were like, "Oh, you sail? That's cool." And I'm like, "No. It's like I'm studying computer science. Like I don't sail."
In a sailing school, yeah, because that's very important for sailing. Everything's just computer. Everything.
Yeah, because like I had just said that the school's in Maine, and then immediately like I like how that was where their mind went. And then another person was like, "Wait, there's a school on Main Street." I'm like, "No, it's like in the state of Maine."
In the state of Maine.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. But yeah. Oh my gosh, I have things that I wanted to talk about that I didn't get to talk about. I will say we're on the topic of like Thrive and things like that, and I guess that could kind of lead into Bowdoin recently, or like for this year, they were able to distribute MacBooks and iPad minis. Last year, it was just the iPad Pros. And so basically, any student or every student got like, okay, so they're incoming freshmen, they got the iPad minis, and then everyone got the MacBooks, except for a small group of students, which were those who were in GCS, I believe, right? Because we have received like Bowdoin issued laptops, MacBooks, like ourselves already. Like we got ours last year, and then there's like 4 classes of GCS right now, so it's like they also got their MacBooks and stuff. And I saw this in the Orient, which is like Bowdoin's school newspaper, and that there was like complaints about how like this was an effort of digital equity, and like the word like equity was thrown in there, and it's like, wasn't this kind of like equality if like everyone gets the same thing? But I mean, like, there's that question, and then there's also like,
we didn't get our computers our year or something like that.
We didn't get, right. So, I mean, for us, it's like not that bad because we just got ours last year. But for like this who are now seniors, they have like an older model.
Yeah, they have the like.
So like they have the 2019 model. We have the 2020.
And 2020?
We have the 2020 model.
Well,
or 2020. I mean, because they didn't make a new one for 2021.
I thought they were in generation, so. I mean, I guess, yeah, they're in general.
Well, I mean, I don't really know too much, but okay, so we have the M1 MacBooks, and I believe they have the Intel ones.
Oh, so they got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, right. So like the seniors have that should tell you enough. And then everyone else this year got M2 MacBooks.
Yeah, they got the new fancy one.
So like the thing with that is like it's interesting that they like didn't distribute or like update our laptops. I mean, they're the schools anyway. It's like it's not like we could say we want them or whatever. And then they also made the point of like that we can't even like sell our laptops to get a new one because they're owned by the school, and like we can't do that. But I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know any of the seniors. I don't know if they'll be listening to this, and I'm sorry, but but I mean, like, I get it. The one person who was like mentioned in the article is a computer science major, and like he did an internship this summer, and they straight up told him your laptop isn't sufficient for what we do. And I'm in computer science, and I low-key got scared for a bit. I'm like, hey, yo, but then I found out, he had the much older models, so that makes sense. And so that kind of left me with like, bruh.
Give us new laptops. We need them.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is that they are custom made. Like they're not like okay, when you buy a MacBook, they're not just the base models. We got the base model for our generation.
You sure? I thought we got the Apple in one chip, but we also got 256, right?
Yeah.
And then we had a 16 gigabyte RAM.
I don't know if there's an 8. I don't know if 8 gigabyte is the base model.
I think
that would make sense.
8 is the base. I think we got 16. I don't remember.
Yeah, we did get 16 and 256 gigabytes of storage. Those are like the only stats that matter, basically.
Yeah.
Because the new ones, I mean, yeah, sure, they come with the M2, but I mean, you probably won't really notice a difference, honestly.
Yeah,
like if you're a college student. But they got 512.
Yeah, they got more storage.
They got 512 gigabytes of storage, and I'm just like, bro. So the thing with that is like yeah, 256. Like you don't think that's a big difference, but it is.
It is very big. It's literally
my
half.
MacBook right now it has 30 gigabytes of free space. And a big part of that is the fact that I do a podcast, and I have like Premiere Pro, I have Audition, I have, like big heavy programs that take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
And I had to buy like a flash drive basically to have even more space. And so, I mean, like if I had more space in like on my laptop, I would eventually have to buy a flash drive anyway. But it's just kind of like for me, it ruins the longevity of my laptop, where it's like eventually in like the next couple of years, Apple's going to keep updating the Mac OS.
Yeah. And it's
we won't be able to install them unless we like get rid of space. Yeah, exactly. But these not only are these brand new, but they also have even more storage than ours. I mean, they have literally double. And so like that's my only gripe. It's the fact that it has more storage, because that does like increase the longevity of the laptop. Like my laptop will probably be crap by the time I graduate, and then I'll have to get another one anyway. And like a big part of like how they advertised it was you'll be able to buy it for $1 when you graduate. Yeah. And so like, yes, I'm still like happy with the fact that I did get a laptop like completely free pretty much. Because as a QuestBridge student, I did get a full ride. So it's like, it's not even like my tuition, what I'm paying for. Yeah. But it's like, it's still kind of like, ooh. And I know that the guy who was in charge of that whole program is going to or did visit Thrive for like a talk to have like any questions about that. I don't know if that's already happened, or by the time this episode goes up, it will have happened. Actually, it's coming out. That talk is on Friday. Friday right before our GCS event, which is funny. Because it's like the only people who will go there are those who want to complain, and because they're on GCS, but then it's like you have an event right after. So it's like they kind of trapped you there.
They do that on purpose, I believe.
I don't know, man. I mean, you want to give people like the benefit of the doubt, but it's it's an interesting point of topic though, because it's like the people who arguably need it or like would benefit the most from it aren't receiving it, kind of thing. Yeah. But I mean, that's just me. Thank you for listening to my rant.
Yeah, we both have established rants.
Anyway, I feel like that'd be a good spot to wrap up this episode. Sorry, it's a bit of a stingy note, but Apple did have like a whole event today where they announced they announced AirPods Pro, like a new ones. They announced the iPhone 14 line, which includes the iPhone 14, the iPhone 14 mini. There's a new kind of line called iPhone 14 Plus, and then you have the Pro and then the Pro Max, and the Pro, that's always been a thing. But the Pro specifically is like low key really freaking good. Because you know how like the main complaint people have is like this notch thing, which personally I don't really have a. Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I mean, like you have a whole screen.
But anyway, so what they did is like they kind of like reduced this to like it's curved now, and it's like on the screen, and also like there's a hole punch right next to it, like on the side. So it's like a small little thing and then a hole punch. And what they did is like their screen, I think this is with iOS 16. It has like it's, I don't know how to explain it. Like you just have to watch it, bro. Like
to watch it.
Okay. It's dope as hell though, because they like basically made it where like it's dynamic. Like the notch is dynamic. Like it grows, it moves, but it's not like the actual notch. Like it's not like this thing that like you can't touch it or whatever. Like it's like all part of the phone, like the screen. Like it's the screen making it look bigger, and then like it's dope as hell. That's I feel like I didn't do it justice, but it's really freaking cool is what I'm trying to say. And I'm obviously like I have the 12 right now. I'm not trying to upgrade anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think we can afford to upgrade right
that
now.
too. I mean, no, I can, but I don't want to.
Yeah, there are better investments right now than
buy myself a M2 Latin. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we gotta get the M2. That's what I'm saying. We have to put that first, and then
no, dude, those things are like 1,400. The ones they got, so I mean, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. We have a place to be, so I think I'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys so much for listening. Actually, Miguel, take it out.
Yeah, no. Thank you guys for watching.
So
thank you.
On the spot.
Thank you for listening to us and our rants and whatever was on our mind. And a quick little disclaimer from my little what's it called? Suburb rant. I will acknowledge that there are nuances to that argument. So I'm not completely like saying, fuck everyone who's from suburbs, but
those two people from the suburbs listening, like, hey, yo, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm not saying you're bad people. It's just that, like,
what do you do? They already clicked off the video.
They're gone. I cannot do them any justice. All right, but yeah, just like I said, there are nuances, and I accept that. So, yeah,
we're back, baby. Let's go. Anyway, I don't know what to name this episode.
Yeah, you can name it like, I don't know, like long distance relationships and how suburbs are destroying America or something like that.
All right, there you go. I've been thinking about doing something like that. Oh, let's just end it. All right, let's have another conversation.
All right, yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys next week, Saturday. You know the deal. Follow us on Instagram. Later.